acts of kindness are loud and public. Others are quiet, almost invisible. This is a story about a quiet one, a decision made out of need and kindness that changed 2 lives forever. What happens when an ordinary single dad opens his home to a stranger, not knowing she carries a secret that could turn his whole world upside down? Before we begin, take a moment to support the channel. If you enjoy stories that warm your heart and remind you of the power of kindness, please subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. You're watching Kind Choice Corner, where one kind choice can change everything. Mark Davis never imagined he'd be renting out a room in his small house. Life hadn't turned out the way he planned. At 42, Mark was a single father living in a quiet suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. His wife had passed away 5 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving him to raise their 8-year-old son, Noah, on his own. Since then, every decision Mark made revolved around one thing: keeping their little family afloat. He worked as a maintenance supervisor at a public high school. It was honest work, but the pay barely covered the mortgage, groceries, and Noah's school expenses. Some months, Mark lay awake at night staring at the ceiling, wondering how he'd make it through the next one. That's when he noticed the empty bedroom at the end of the hallway. It used to be a guest room, but after his wife died, it became a quiet reminder of what he'd lost. One evening, as Mark sorted through unpaid bills at the kitchen table, an idea crossed his mind. Maybe he could rent it out. Just temporarily. Just until things got easier. He posted a simple ad online: room for rent, quiet home, close to campus, affordable. A week later, he received a message from a college student named Lily. Lily arrived on a Saturday afternoon with a single suitcase and a backpack. She looked about 20 years old, with simple clothes, no jewelry, and an easy smile. Her brown hair was tied back in a loose ponytail, and she thanked Mark at least 3 times just for letting her come see the place. "I'm studying economics," she said softly. "I don't need much, just a quiet space." Mark liked her right away. There was something respectful and grounded about her. She met Noah, knelt down to his level, and asked him about his favorite superheroes. Noah beamed instantly. The rent Mark asked for was low, lower than he probably should have charged, but Lily didn't hesitate. "This is perfect," she said. "Thank you so much." From the very first week, Lily felt less like a tenant and more like family. She always cleaned up after herself. She offered to help with dishes. Sometimes she cooked simple meals and insisted Mark and Noah join her. She listened when Mark talked about his late wife, never rushing him or changing the subject. And she was incredibly kind to Noah, helping him with homework and cheering at his Little League games when Mark had to work late. Mark never asked many questions about Lily's family. She mentioned they were well off but not close. He assumed that meant middle class, maybe upper middle. Plenty of college kids came from comfortable homes. What Mark didn't know was that Lily's father was one of the wealthiest tech investors in the country. Lily was a billionaire's daughter, but she had chosen a different life. She'd grown up in mansions with staff, private drivers, and every luxury imaginable, but she'd also grown up lonely. Her parents were always busy. Conversations were short. Love was expressed through money, not presents. When Lily decided to attend college under her own name, she asked her father for one thing: independence. No bodyguards, no penthouse apartments, no special treatment. He reluctantly agreed, as long as she stayed safe. Living with Mark and Noah gave Lily something money never had: warmth. She watched how Mark packed Noah's lunch every morning with a handwritten note tucked inside. She saw how tired he was after work, yet still found energy to read bedtime stories. She noticed how he never complained, even when things were clearly hard. One evening, Lily overheard Mark on the phone with the bank. His voice was calm, but his hands trembled. "I understand," he said quietly. "Yes, I'll figure something out." Later that night, Lily sat on her bed staring at the wall. She knew she could fix his problems in seconds. One phone call, one transfer. But she didn't, because she knew what Mark gave wasn't charity, it was dignity. And she didn't want to insult that. Instead, Lily did what she could in small ways. She paid rent early. She bought groceries and said they were on sale. She tutored Noah for free, calling it practice for teaching someday. Months passed. Then one morning, everything changed. Mark collapsed at work. It wasn't a heart attack, but it was serious enough to put him in the hospital for weeks. The doctor told him he needed rest. No heavy work, no stress. Mark panicked. No work meant no pay. No pay meant losing the house. Lily visited him in the hospital every day. She brought Noah after school. She listened as Mark apologized over and over for being a burden. "You're not," Lily said firmly. "You've been kind to me since day one." That night, Lily made a call she'd been avoiding. A week later, Mark was called into a meeting, not with the bank, but with a lawyer and a representative from a foundation he'd never heard of. They explained that an anonymous donor had paid off his mortgage, set up a college fund for Noah, and arranged for Mark to receive full salary during his recovery. Mark was stunned. "Who would do this?" he asked. Lily stepped forward. "I think it's time you knew," she said gently. She told him everything, about her father, about the money, about why she chose to live simply, about how his kindness had shown her what real family looked like. Mark sat in silence, tears streaming down his face. "I never treated you differently because I didn't know," he said. "I just treated you like a person. That's exactly why this matters," Lily replied. Mark recovered slowly, but his life was forever changed. Not because of the money, but because his kindness had come back to him in a way he never expected. Lily finished college and moved on, but she never disappeared. She stayed in touch. She visited. She watched Noah grow, and Mark never forgot the lesson. Kindness doesn't ask who someone is or what they have. It simply shows up. You never know whose life you're touching, or how far your kindness will travel. So if you have the chance to be kind today, take it. It might just change everything.